The luminous life of Lily Aphrodite is set in Berlin in the early part of the last century. It's about a girl who grows up in Berlin in a very turbulent time and eventually becomes a silent movie star. Lily Aphrodite is the illegitimate daughter of a cabaret artist and a Bavarian baron. She is orphaned in scandalous circumstances, but her life changes when she meets a girl called Hannah, who's another orphan, and together they go out of the orphanage and into Berlin, and she discovers a world she hadn't imagined existed. Berlin at that time was an incredible city. It was the biggest city in the world. Population had literally quadrupled in size in only a few years. So it was a very exciting place. It was full of bars and theatres and cabarets. So I kind of started to research it and discovered this incredibly rich, incredibly tragic period of German history. The reason I got interested in the first place was I have a great aunt who was Russian, and she was about 90, and she had lived in Berlin in the 20s and worked for UFA, which is the European Film Academy where all the films were made. And actually the story of Lily echoes or kind of runs alongside the story of German film, and I wanted to kind of to use both of them in parallel to tell a wider story about the way we look at film and the impact film has had on us. Mr. Lair had watched her screen test several times over. In the flesh, she was an attractive young woman, that was undeniable. But on film, her skin looked as smooth and as flawless as a pearl. Her eyes were invitations fringed with long, dark lashes. The arch of her brow and the curve of her cheek were gradients so perfect it was hard to resist the urge to touch. Lots of people were plucked from nowhere and given parts in films because it was a brand new medium, so you didn't actually have to act in the traditional way that people acted in theatre. So yeah, she's plucked from the typing pool and given a few roles by a Russian director called Ilya, who becomes her lover. So the relationship they have on screen it reflects something they have off screen as well. I kind of wanted her to be almost like a lens to see the world through. So she is the lens we see Berlin through. She's the lens we see people through. We see everything through her and through her eyes. And I think the way we see the world has changed because of cinema, because we see the world in a slightly different way. We see people, we see relationships, we see places. Sitting in a silent cinema watching a film was like, for the first time it happened, it must have been incredible, it must have been revolutionary. So I think it's changed the way people relate to each other and the way they relate to the world.